All right, so I'm going to go through another problem like it, but it's not going to be the exact same problem, just so that you can still practice with that problem. So the first thing we need to know is that anytime we see the word complement or complementary, that means two angles that add up to 90 degrees. Anytime we see the word supplement or supplementary, that means two angles that add up to 180 degrees. So depending on what word you see in the problem is going to be your hint as to how to solve the problem. So reading through the problem, I have the measure of the complement of an angle is 3 times the measure of the angle. Find the measure of the angle and its complement. So I see the word complement. That is a hint that I know that when I add my two angles together, they're going to add up to 90 degrees. So that being said, now I want to pick two variables. I want two placeholders, one of them that stands for the complement, which is just another name for an angle. It's the second angle that adds to another angle to make 90 degrees. And I have the angle itself. So the complement, I think I'm going to call C. That is the letter I'm going to use when I build an equation. For my angle, I'm going to call that A, because angle starts with A. All right, so now let's go through this and write our equation. The measure of the complement, that right there, the measure of the complement, again, is C. Sorry, measure of a complement of an angle. That whole entire title means C. The measure of the complement of an angle is, anytime I see the word is, that tells me that I have an equal sign. So C is, or C equals, and then this last part says 3 times the measure of the angle. So I have the measure of the angle, which is A, and I know I need 3 times that. So I'm going to call that 3 times A, or 3A. All right. So the measure of the complement, that's what my equation says, the measure of the complement is 3 times the measure of the angle. So we've taken that sentence and converted it into an equation. Now they want us to find the measure of the angle and its complement. They want us to find both C and A. Okay. Well, again, I haven't used that fact that the two angles add up to 90. So up top here in purple, I'm going to say that my complement plus my angle add up. When I add them together, they should make 90 because they are complements. All right. Now that I have my two equations written down, I'm going to use what's called substitution. I know that C is the same thing as 3 times A. So in my first equation, the C plus A equals 90, I'm going to replace this C and put in instead that 3A that it is equal to. Because again, C and 3A are the exact same thing. That's what this equal sign means. So instead of C plus A, I have 3A plus A equals 90. And this is probably the hardest part. Once you get this down, it's really downhill from here. Okay, so I'm going to combine my like terms. I'm going to simplify this equation. I'll do that in blue. 3A plus 1A gives me a total of 4A. And on my other side, I still have 90. Now, again, 4 is multiplying to A, so to undo multiplication by 4, I have to divide both sides by 4. These cancel out, and at this point, you can use a calculator. What is 90 divided by 4? When you type it into a calculator, you should get 22.5. And what I just figured out is A equals 22.5. I'm going to write this as a sentence just so it makes more sense. The angle, the equal sign is 22.5 degrees. Okay, so in my two boxes, the measure of my angle I know is 22.5 degrees. Now I need to find its complement. Again, a complement is an angle that when added to your original angle adds up to 90. In the problem that you sent me, it says the word supplement. So remember that the two angles will add up to 180 instead of 90. But in my problem, I know that 22.5, I'll do this in this brown color, 22.5 plus some angle, which again is the complement. I don't know what the complement is, so I'm just going to leave that as a C. I know when I add these two together, it's going to add up to 90. To get C by itself, or to solve for the complement, I have to get rid of this 22.5. So I'm going to subtract 22.5 from both sides. Do that in orange, minus 22.5. What I do to one side of the equal sign, I do to the other. And what I get is that C is equal to 90 minus 22.5, which is, I'll write the final answer in, looks like green, why not? 90 minus 22.5 is 67.5. Now I can check my work. Does 67.5 plus 22.5 make 90? I check. 0.5 plus 0.5 is 1.0, so I bring them up to 0. 7 plus 1 is 8, plus 2 is 10. 6 plus 2 is 8, plus 1 is 9. Yep, these two angles add up to 90. So that is just one way that I can check my work. But here's an example of how to solve a problem like this. If you have questions, feel free to email me again.